everybody. How are you doing? My name is Lindsay. I am with Perfectly Pastry. Welcome, welcome. Who's Perfectly Pastry? We are a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. How's everybody doing? If you're watching me live, use a heart. Let me know that you are watching me live. If you've never caught one of my lives before and you're on, use one. Let me know. Like, hey, it's the first time I've caught you live. Thank you for having on. And if you're watching me on replay, thank you so much for taking the time to go ahead and rewatch the replay on this video. I greatly appreciate you. How are you doing? I'm like looking everywhere because I'm going to need my phone today to go over the baking tips that I have for you guys. I got my board over here. I didn't mess up logging in here like I did last week. I was like, I've said this before, like I use our lives and I turn them into YouTube and podcasts and things like that. And I was like rewatching it to edit it. And I was just laughing at how frantic I was last week. I was like, what was my deal? Like, I don't understand why I was having such a hard time. All right. Thank you guys so much for everybody who stopped by and saw us at the Pumpkin Fest. We had so much fun at the Pumpkin Fest. It was really nice to be back at events and doing those kind of things again after, you know, the big shutdown for so long. I know that like certain words you can't say on social media and stuff like that, like it gets you banned. But after the shutdown and everything being like slowed down, it's been so great to be doing events and things again. So we really loved the Pumpkin Fest in Waterloo. It is definitely on our list to do next year. Like we actually had a really great time. It was great meeting all these people, meeting all the other business owners, meeting all the people of the community. It was a lot of fun. And so I just want to thank everybody. Last week, if you watched my live, you know that I made this big, like a to-do announcement about how I'm a big chicken, right? I talked to you guys about how I'm going to go out of my comfort zone and I'm going to invite other people to do interviews on our Facebook. And I said, hold me accountable. Ask me how it went. Okay, so I did it. I did start messaging people. I'm not going to lie. I just messaged a few and then I panicked. I was like, panic. And part of the reason I panicked is because I was scared. The other part, or the reason I like only did a few, was because like, I don't want to end up in Facebook jail, you know, like if you message a bunch of people the same message, because like I wrote out this message that explained what I was doing. If you message a lot of people the same message, like social media will like slap your hand and put you in their social media jail. So Facebook will totally put you in Facebook jail. I didn't want to land in Facebook jail. That is my excuse. I only messaged a few, but I did get some people who are interested. So look at that. I put myself out there. I'm so scared. I put myself out there and some people are interested. I don't have anything on the books yet, but we're moving in the right direction. And just knowing that some people are like, yeah, sure, no problem, made me less scared. So I'm not as big of a chicken. I say all that, but the rejection is real. The rejection is scary. Just like everybody else, I have to overcome that fear of rejection. And so I need to start messaging more people so that I can, you know, do it. So again, next week, I'm going to come back on here and I'm going to tell you like, oh, I scheduled this many or, oh, I messaged this many more people. That's my goal. So again, hold me accountable next week. I'll give you an update on how I did, but I am excited that I did ask people. I'm not going to lie. I'm like one of those people I typed I did more work going into it than actually like sending the messages because I was stalling, right? Because like that's what we do, right? So I wrote this really amazing like message, or at least what I think is so clever and funny and amazing. And I sent it to my mom and my sister and they proofed it and they help me like fix any of the errors, okay? And then I stopped that before I sent it and I like created this elaborate PDF. Because that's what you need, right? An elaborate PDF so that you can send a Facebook message. So I created this elaborate PDF because if somebody says, yes, they want to schedule, I want them to understand what's going to happen. And so I just want them to feel like I'm prepared, which I'm never prepared. I want them to feel like I'm prepared and I got my crap together, right? So I make this beautiful PDF. I send it to my mom and my sister to review. And then I'm like, okay, now that I have created the message and now that I stalled and I created this beautiful PDF that I feel like is amazing, even though my graphic arts skills are not the best. Now it's time I have to actually send the message. So I did it, but I'm not going to lie. Like I put like all these projects ahead of it, like all these things. Well, I can't send it without this. I can't send it without that. You know, it's like, girl, just get it together and do it, which I did. So that's a good thing. Then the other thing I had this like epiphany. I don't remember when I had the epiphany. It was either maybe it was this morning. I don't know. So we did the Pumpkin Fest, right? And my niece had a friend who helped us. She had a friend who like came up by the shop for the first time. She hadn't been by the shop, so she thought that was really cool. And she like helped out at the pumpkin fest and all of these things. And it made me realize, like, I talk a lot about how we do this business not necessarily to pass on to our kids, because like we want our kids to choose what they want to do. Whatever they want to do is what they want to do, and what we do in our lives doesn't necessarily mean that they have to do it, right? So we've created this business, and I know you're thinking, then why create a family business? Why create a family business if the goal isn't to pass it to your kids? It's to inspire our kids. It's to inspire our kids to chase their dreams. It's inspired our kids to realize that there are no limitations. The limitations that you feel are really just in your head. If there's a will, there's a way, and you just got to put your mind to it and get through it, right? And having one of my niece's friends with us made me realize that, like, really that lesson isn't just for my kids. It's not just for my nieces. Like, it's for anybody that is around us. Like, I have to keep that in mind, that like when I'm doing this, I'm not just showing my girls like, hey, you can do what you want. Like, I'm actually letting other people know, like, if you want to have a business, have a business. If you don't want to have a business, don't have a business. If you want to become an astronaut, work towards that. Like, do those things. And so it was just really weird to think like, oh, I mean, I don't want to necessarily be like, we inspire others, but like, really, we do have more than just my children and my nieces that are observing what we do. We have all kinds of people that we're influencing, whether they know it or not. Like, you know, my niece's friend being along, like, she realizes she'll get to see like some of the behind the scenes of what it's like to own your own business. And, you know, some of the things that you celebrate, like, you as your business owner, you'd be surprised at some of the smallest things that you celebrate. Like, what seems so small to our customers is like so big to us. For example, I posted a reel on Instagram over the weekend, right? Usually my sister does the reels and she posts them, and my niece posted one. She thought she was like, look at me, I'm famous, because she had a bunch of views and some likes and stuff on a video that she helped us with. And so I post every once in a while, but my reels don't get as many likes and follows and eyeballs as my sister's reels do. And it did. Like, the one I did got some views, like actually got some hearts and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, look at me. Like, I got some hearts finally on my video. And like, you know, you're just scrolling on Instagram and you're just liking away. And like, that means something to that person who made that video. Like, we look at it and we're like, oh my gosh, like somebody liked it. Somebody actually took the time to watch it. So it's like those little things that you don't realize when you don't own a business necessarily, that it's so important. And so like, she gets to see that. That was the whole tangent I went on, right? So it's just crazy to think that like when my niece's friends are around us or my daughter's friends are around us, like we're actually influencing them by what we're doing and how we're conducting ourselves with our business and things like that. So it was just mind blowing. So there's my philosophy of the day. It was so mind blowing. Yeah. Anyways, you know, sometimes I go on wild tangents, and that was one of them. Okay. One of the things that I want to let you guys know that is coming up is we are going to be hosting a food drive. We are going to be hosting a food drive. It's going to start November 2nd through November 6th. I will have a flyer. I'm working on a flyer. I haven't finished it yet. I got the wording for the flyer, but I didn't design the flyer. So we're going to be making some flyers. We'll be sharing things out on social media, in our stories, on Facebook, Instagram, all of that stuff. So keep your eyes out for more information. But I did drop the information in the description. I don't know how often people read that, but it is in the description if you're really interested on like what we're planning on doing. So we are going to be doing a food drive for the House of Neighborly Services. And we're going to be helping with their Thanksgiving that they do for families. And so they had provided us a list of items that they typically need to be able to give out these Thanksgiving boxes for families. And so we thought that if you bring one of these items in from November 2nd through November 6th, we're going to give you 10% off for that day. So you can come back each day and donate something, but every time you bring in a new donation, that'd be 10% off. So if you come in on Tuesday and you donate, you have 10% for Tuesday. If you come in Wednesday and you donate again, then you can have 10% off on Wednesday, and so forth. There is a list of items that they're looking for. They have some specific things that they want to be able to help people have the Thanksgiving that they're looking for. And so it's cans of green beans, cans of corn, cans of fruit, cans of pumpkin, cans of evaporated milk, cans of cranberry sauce, and cans of mushroom soup. So those are going to be the things that we're looking for the donation. It is going to be an all week long process. You keep coming back to donate and you can keep getting your discount. It is going to be for 10% off of your purchase during that week. Again, I'll have more flyers and more that I'll be talking about on social media and sending it out. We're going to have some stuff at the shop so that you know that it's going on. And we will be taking those donations. If you want to donate before, that is absolutely fine. Just bring it here. We can always get your donation over to them. We actually speak with them pretty frequently. Again, it's the House of Neighborly Service. I think we talk to them at least once, twice a week. So if you are like, oh, you know what? I had some stuff that I wanted to donate. Let us know and we can definitely get it over there for you. That's not a problem too. Okay, you guys, so I don't remember when I made this announcement. A couple of lives back, I said, oh, what am I going to talk about in October? And I decided that I'm going to start addressing some baking tips because baking season, like the biggest time of the year when all of us are baking, is coming up. And so we talked about pies. We talked about, I know I gave some other tips. I just remember last week's because last week's was pie, but I know I gave you some more tips prior to that. But I don't remember what they were. I know it was like about nutmeg and I don't know, whatever. You'll have to go back 2 weeks ago and look at my baking tips because now I don't remember. And so this week I thought I would give you guys a little bit of information about cookies. So when we opened okay, so I told you guys about the Get Different book, right? Like I know, here you go, business related, sorry. I told you guys about the Get Different book. It's a marketing book that I absolutely adore. It's all about thinking different and marketing different. And it works really well for our business because we've always like thought outside the box. And part of that comes from, let's be real, like we're a small business. It's not like we have bukus and bukus of money to throw at our marketing. Like we just don't. And I mean, that's honestly the truth for most small businesses. Like, you know, you got to figure out where your money's going to be spent. Marketing is not always where you throw the bulk of your money, even though technically you're supposed to, right? And so Get Different's all about like staying in your budget and really getting creative with the things that you do. Okay, so prior to reading this book, I didn't even know that Get Different marketing was a thing. Pretty much, I have no marketing experience. I've told you guys that before. And I literally just watch what other industries do and go, let's try that. Let's try that. Let me try that, right? So when we were opening our storefront the first time when we opened up in St. Louis before we moved over to Waterloo, when we were just kind of getting our feet wet in the whole retail space, you know, because when COVID hits, you're like, let me open a storefront bakery because that's what everybody does, right? So with no marketing background. Right. And so we did this bake along challenge. That was the whole point of that. We did this bake along challenge. It was because we're in a commercial kitchen, we were going to like film it live and all of these things. And then there's like all this noise and you can't control for everybody that's in the bakery, in the kitchen when you're in there. So that didn't work. So we like pre-recorded how-to tutorial videos on how to make certain things. And then we did a Facebook Live with my mom, and she like gave you guys a whole bunch of tips and stuff about how to do the recipes and how to make them better and things like that. So I took some information from that. That was something that we did last year. And I thought, well, let's talk about cookies, right? Because cookies are in my brain lately, and not gonna lie, cookies are great for Christmas. We all know Santa loves himself some cookies. And so I thought, you want to get some better Christmas presents this year? Let me give you the idea on how to make your cookies better for the year, right? I mean, exactly. And so I looked at the video. I got some of those tips from my mom, and I thought, you know what? That's what we're going to talk about today. So let me get my phone out, right? Because I obviously don't have them memorized because I've told y'all before, I'm not the baker. As you know, like, my expertise is not the baker. My expertise is marketing. No, it's not. But that's okay. I do it anyways, right? And it definitely isn't graphic design. And it's not web design. It's funny because those are not my expertise, and yet those are the things I'm doing. Last night, we have this big project that we have coming up at the end of October, and I need my website to do what I need it to do. And it never wants to do what I need it to do. Like, I cannot get it figured out. Like, I tried so many things last night. I finally just like closed my laptop and I'm like, I'm going to bed. Hands up, I'm done. I'll have to like regroup and try to come up with a plan B, because what I was trying to do last night was not working. And I think that's one of the most frustrating things about like the do-it-yourselfer, right? Because you just are like, I don't know. Who do I call who can just fix this for me? Yeah, there it is. So that was where I was at last night. Okay, so let me get that open. I don't even know why I went on that. It happens, right? All right, so cookies. Let's talk about cookies. I'm going to put my phone over here so I can look at it. Okay. One of the really important things about making cookies is this is kind of funny. I'm going to tell you a side story, okay? So my sister was not part of the Bake Along Challenge. And so my sister has not had the cookie information drilled into her head like I have, right? Because I'm the one that like did the interview with my mom. I did the video editing for the video that we did. I did the recipe. Like I did all of that work. My sister actually wasn't working full-time in the business at the time. So I had a lot of experience with the cookies. Fast forward to when my mom went to Ireland and my sister had to make cookies. She messed the cookies up the first time she made them because she totally forgot one of the steps. And I'll point out the step that she completely forgot to do. She's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, how do you not know that's a thing? You know, I'm not the baker. And how do you not know that's a thing? She's like, shut up. It's not like you did. And I was like, I actually did know. And that's why I know this big long challenge. Okay. Room temperature butter. Room temperature butter is really important because there is a creaming process in cookies. If you are not creaming your butter and sugar together, you are doing your cookies wrong. I know. What? How can you make cookies wrong? Like that honestly cannot be a thing, but it actually is. And my sister is proof of that. She did not cream the butter. And when she didn't cream the butter, we had to get rid of the M&M cookies because they flopped. They were not beautiful. They didn't look right. She's like, what did I do? And I was like, did you cream the butter? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, look what I know. Okay. So I know I haven't even gotten to the cream the butter part. The whole point is you need to have room temperature butter because room temperature butter is easier in the creaming process. It's easier to work with and it doesn't create like pieces. That's my pieces of butter. When you're doing the creaming process, it helps it cream smoothly. Okay, so make sure you're working with room butter and not cold butter. So room temperature butter. You want to cream your butter and sugar. Yes, you want to cream your butter and sugar for a minimum of 10 minutes. I bet you're not doing that, right? I know. I didn't either. So that's actually a really important process. It helps your cookies get real airy, fluffy. And that was like really the trick to that. And it's so funny because we did that big long challenge. I did another live about it, another YouTube video and some stuff about it like a year ago. And we were watching, my husband and I were watching the Food Network channel. And one of the girls that was on MasterChef. She was one of the judges on MasterChef. She was on a different show, like talking about, I think it's called like the Milk Bar. I think she owns like the Milk Bar or something like that. And so she was talking about cookies and she was talking about the importance of creaming her sugars and butters. And I told my husband, I'm like, I know this. I knew this was a thing. He's like, what are you talking about? Because I was all excited and I was like explaining it to him. So yeah, honestly, you need to be creaming your butter and sugar together. And if you're not, you really need to start doing that. So there you go. That is like the biggest tip. Okay. Please do that for a minimum of 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Let me get back into it. I let my phone shut down, so I had to get back in it. Okay. So we're going to now start creaming the butter and sugar together. And I like saved this information and I must have deleted it. Oh, I know where I typed it. I typed it in the description and it's not on my phone. So now I have to remember what I typed. Oh, this ought to be good. No, I think I remember. Okay. So once you cream it together, you're going to add your eggs one at a time. This is what happens when your mom's a baker. You're going to add your eggs one at a time. You're going to let it incorporate fully. So you're going to cream your butter and sugar. You're going to add your eggs one at a time. You're going to incorporate it all. And if you have to, honestly, scrape the bowl. Scrape the bowl. Scraping the bowl is like your friend in any recipe you're making. You want to get that stuff mixed, scrape the bowl. Scrape the bowl. So you're going to add your eggs one at a time. You're going to incorporate them. You're going to scrape in between adding your next egg. Okay, that's really important. Then you're going to add, well, the way that we do it is we add all of our ingredients together after that. Okay, so we don't mix it. We cream it. We add all the ingredients. And then we are going to mix it just enough so that the flour is incorporated. And I know you're thinking, you're like, that's it? Just enough so that the flour disappears. And we actually put our chocolate chips in at that point in time. And here's why. Okay. The minute that your flour hits your liquid, your gluten is going to start forming. I don't know if you know this, but gluten helps make things tougher. So gluten can be really important. So for example, when you're making a cake, you're actually going to use a special type of flour that produces more gluten so that you have a sturdier cake, so that when you're stacking it and shaping it and putting things on it, it doesn't just crumble. Okay. So gluten can be really good when you need that structure. You don't want that structure in your cookie. Otherwise, you get a chewy cookie. Okay, so it's really important that you're not going to over mix your batter or your dough. You don't want to over mix your dough. So when you pour it all in, you're just going to mix it enough to incorporate it. And that's why we don't want to start that gluten process too much. We don't want it to over mix. We don't want to create too much gluten. We don't want tough cookies. And the reason you want to add your chocolate chips in then and not later, is because as you're mixing and you have it all incorporated and then you add your chocolate chips and you're mixing again, it tends to cause you to overwork your dough. And that's what you're trying to avoid. So those little tricks, those little changes to your cookies are actually going to make all the difference in the world on the way that your cookies turn out. So room temperature butter, cream your butter and sugar together, and then add all the ingredients at once. Mix it just until your flour is incorporated, and then you're ready to roll. Yeah. So now you know the tips so that you can make delicious cookies so that you can have more presents under your Christmas tree this year because Santa's going to be happy with you. Yes, he is. All right, you guys. So if you're like, oh, I got to write all these down. In the description, I mean, you're more than welcome just to keep rewatching this video and seeing my face. I don't really care. You can definitely do that. But in the description, I did list those tips out for you guys so that you could copy them, save them, put them to memory so that when you're making cookies, teach your kiddos, like, this is the best way to make your cookies. Any of those things, you guys have them at your fingertips. All right, you guys, if you're watching me live, you should really be liking and following us on Facebook. If you just happen to find my video and you're like, well, I don't really like Facebook, I get it. It's kind of, going to the wayside. I get it. I still personally get on Facebook. I love being able to check in with my family and friends and all of that stuff, but I get it. It's not for everybody. You're in luck. We are on other social media. That is right. Facebook is the only one that we are at Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the other social media, we are at Perfectly Pastry. My sister and I, like I said before, have been hanging out a lot on Instagram because we're really liking the reels. I have this song that I want to sing. I'm not a singer, so this is going to be a bad when I do this reel. But I asked my sister, I'm like, I want to take this song and I want to change the words. And I was like, will you sing it so that we can upload it as like our own audio? And she was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll sing it and then you just dance to it and then upload that reel. And she's like, yeah, no, I don't want anybody to think that it's me singing that song. And I'm like, really? Really? She's like, yeah, no, that's all on you, girl. So maybe I will get the courage to finish writing the song and make a reel about it. And then when you see the reel, you'll totally know which one I'm talking about. But other than that, you guys, I'm going to hop off of here. I will see you guys next week. Make sure you hop back on so you can find out how far I got in my project. And I'll let you know if I get anybody interviewed. And like I said, I stepped out on a limb. So stop being scared and get out there. Don't be putting things in front of you and procrastinating. It does not work. It never works. You need to just do the thing, okay? Get over it and do the thing. I know, easier said than done. All right, you guys, I will talk to you guys again next week. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you then.